let's talk. There's some good news out there. So let's revisit some current news, just so you know where everything's at. So the Prime Minister Kademi, just a few days ago, they announced that Kademi will be going to Washington to visit the Trump administration on June, correction, July 24th. Okay, so again, on July 24th, Kademi will be going to Washington to visit the Trump administration to continue the strategic dialogues. Okay, then as you guys know, the current central bank governor, Alok, remember, he's proxy, he's a temporary person as the CBI governor. They have only extended his term until July 15th. So as of right now, that's his last date, July 15th. Okay. And now, this whole video is my opinion, should not be used for financial advice. It does seem or appear that they might only be keeping Alok in position just long enough to complete and commission the rate change, okay, the reinstatement. So here's a good article. So as you guys know, one of the things I've told you and stressed to you is that Iraq does have to have stability within the government. Okay, the government has to be able to work together. Okay, if they can't work together, the powers that be are not going to let these guys change the rate. That's pretty much been the delay most of this entire time, is getting these guys to be able to work together and get things done together. Okay, so here's a good article. So right now, one of the final items we're waiting on is for Kurdistan and Baghdad to resolve their differences pertaining to budget numbers and oil. Okay, so let's look at this article. The Kurdistan government makes a fateful decision regarding its differences with Baghdad. According to a source familiar with meetings of the Kurdish negotiation delegation in Baghdad, the regional government will take a fateful decision tomorrow, Saturday, regarding its differences with the Iraqi government. The source said to Shafak News that the Kurdish delegation ended its talks in Baghdad after 3 days of intensive meetings with representatives of the federal government. He added that the head of the regional government, Masroor Barzani, will meet on Saturday with his deputy and head of negotiation delegation, Qubad Talabani, to brief him on the results of the talks. The source pointed out that tomorrow's meeting will be fateful for the region because the negotiating delegation reached a network with the center, and he added the results of the talks received the approval of Prime Minister Masroor Barzani. He will visit Baghdad next week to sign the final agreement. Okay, so he's saying that next week Barzani will visit Baghdad to sign the final agreement again next week. And remember, okay, next week is only July 1st. Remember that Alok's temporary proxy position has only been extended through July 15th, okay? Just wanted to reiterate that with you. Regarding the content of the results of the talks, the source said that the understandings reached by the two governments indicate that the region will hand over the revenue from the sale of oil and that half of the revenue from the border outlets to the federal government in exchange for its share of the federal budget. And the previous Iraqi government, headed by Adel Abdul Mahdi, decided last April to cut salaries of state employees in the Kurdistan region after accusing the region of not committing to an agreement to deliver 250,000 barrels of oil per day owned by Baghdad, which was denied by the government of Erbil. Al-Kazemi's government agreed last month to launch 1 month of salaries for the region's employees and mortgaged it on a regular basis on Baghdad and Erbil, reaching an agreement on the oil file and the region's share of the federal budget. Since the decision to cut salaries of the region's employees, the two sides have held 3 rounds of discussions in the capital, Baghdad, the last of which was this week. So right there, guys, they're telling you the last one was this week, so that would even suggest, since they're calling the last one that happened this week the last one, that would suggest they're going to probably try to sign a final agreement next week. The Kurdistan region was a major supporter of Mustafa al-Kazemi assumption of the presidency of the Iraqi government, which could contribute to the bridging of gaps between Baghdad and Erbil, creating the atmosphere for reaching agreements. There are pending files between the two sides for many years, the most important of which is managing the oil and wealth, divided its revenues, and the disputed areas between the two sides. So again, the powers that be are clearly showing you they're not going to allow to increase their exchange rate or revalue their currency, reinstate it, whatever you want to call it, until Iraq has stability to where they can work together. Okay? So there you go. They're showing you right here. They're telling you based on this article, they could be signing that final agreement next week. Let's see what happens. God bless you guys and have a great day.